All right, check. 9, 2, 3, 4, 5. He said, "What's my name?" He said, "What's my name?" He said, "What's my name?" He said, I love you. I don't even watch, listen to this stuff. Slow jam. I could if I didn't have any freaking copyrights. All right, let's make this loud and simple, nice and prideful. What's going on, everybody? It's me, Element Reptile. How's it going? I'm an artist, illustrator, graphic designer. 99 subscribers don't even exist. Nothing in the mist. I'm your thing, and I'm a figment of your imagination. But I don't care because I'm not even trying to reach, you know, 200 followers for clout. It's not my thing. I just want to do it. Want to stream because I want to. Anyways, I did posted Instagram the mermaid. I posted the Anish thing. Um, Wednesday I worked on my Quebec video, and then I did uploaded I've uploaded both the Jurassic Park, the Robert Muldoon log. I also uploaded you know uh another one theme park news, but I'm I'm already fine tuning the Quebec video so I can just upload it in on YouTube, and also probably make a YouTube short as well, like a little trailer. I have to make a trailer actually. I'm thinking about to kind of like make a trailer for that, like a small trailer of my trip, and just kind of like do little things right here, little there. Make it very quick, very nothing too insane, nothing too complex, because I have a habit of making things complex. I'm making things, but that's not why we're here today. I'm gonna be doing working on my newest illustration, which is I actually started it before well, after I did stream the last one. Um, I'm doing a Natsuki a ReZero illustration, but that's gonna be gonna go by day by it's gonna be going like by time by time by time. I rather take my time to make it perfect rather than rushing and not making it perfect, because it's gonna be multiple things. So, and not just that, too. Um, there are some topics to talk about, man. You saw in the stream, you know. But besides that, but first things first. Like I said, did the Anish, and I did the mermaid right here. Um, of course, this one is not gonna. I don't know what to do with it. I'm probably gonna delete this artboard or restart and delete everything. Try to figure out what am I really gonna do with that. And after that too, for the time being, also gonna be doing some graphic designing as well. Let's see. Oh, stupidly messy hair. But out the way. Out the way. Let's get into it, bro. Shall we? Oh, you know what? Bro, straight. God. I was looking where the hell are my freaking gloves? I was looking for my glove all over the place. And then once I realized it was in my book bag. Oh, Finally, I get into business. Hope so. What's this? Oh, wow. Ha! Ha! Turn on the XP pen. Cross it out to ensure it works. Okay, that's good. Good boy. My God, I twitch. So yeah, this is a Subaru. I probably gonna have to do I really didn't do good with the hands. I don't know how I do good with the hands. I'm gonna have to look for like, oh, but no, it's gonna take too long. I'm not gonna waste time. I'm not gonna waste time. I am not going to waste time for now. You're here to watch me stream, have fun, and all that good stuff. No. Okay. That's already enough sketching out. Let's do the other bush. That's what I'm looking for. But yet again, now I gotta do the hands actually. Each frame has a hand. Kind of like that. And then kind of like stops like that. I'm not really good at drawing hands. Like I would have to learn the anatomy, but I would save hand designs, but they're not in they're in Twitter, but I completely bookmarking other things. That's the arrogant thing in me. I'm bookmark and bookmark. I should have been bookmarking the most important things, but instead I'm bookmarking, goonery. Honestly. But I do have to hold it, so I had to kind of like save images. I try to keep my hands like stylized, but I wanted to like my art style like looking like courtroom sketch artists, but even though that didn't came out to be after seeing my creator, my inspirations, Dave Alvarez and Drad Moore, with as well Gorillas, like the band Gorillas, the virtual band. Between Gorilla, I'm hoping it would be crazy if Gorillas did a live collaboration band, right, performance with freaking Hatsune Miku, the Vocaloid. That'll be insane. That'll be legitimately insane. Or perhaps a VTuber will able to make that history. Kizuna AI. Well, goodbye to Kizuna AI. Goodbye to Gargura. Iron Mouse is there. I think even the hidden artist in Japan, Otto, should be a virtual performer. Now we have AI VTubers performing EDM freaking shows. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Oh, shit. This part, okay. It's like that. And then you there? No. Come like that. Um, something like I think the left. I think the left hand. The it's enough right hands. Left hands. Left hands. Okay. Right there, right there, right there. That's good. You know, in the middle of my stream, I wanted to draw, and I'm drawing this illustration. It's not gonna it's gonna take time about it, but in the middle of my stream, I also want to talk about something that is it shouldn't be on my behalf, that it's brewing up on something. I don't want to bring politics into it. God no, God help me no, but it has to be said. You know, it has to be said, guys. You know, we all know that in the internet, people, you know, like hide them, like become curious and venture out whatever they want to be, right? People want to sometimes vent out their frustrations. People sometimes want to share other people's thoughts and curiosities and all what's else, right? Everybody, we all know that since, you know, ever since it was introduced to us, and social media as well. Now we could repeat the whole thing again, that social media was good until it has become completely not. It became good until it became completely dangerous and completely horrible, dog shit, butt fuck, whatever. We all get it. All right, we already get the whole thing that humanity will never change. We all know that, you know, as we did great marvels, we're also doing horrendous crimes of ourselves, and that's true. We do. You know, we all bleed the same color, but we simultaneously don't stop shedding each other's blood, which is 100% that way, and it's been that way since the time of our species. Though for some reason aliens will come down and put in their DNA on us and experiment us, in which we lose our hair, we start to, you know, transform our face, you know, time through evolution and stuff. But we still didn't change ourselves, our savagery. Instead, we get smart, we become creative, and yet we have found new ways to kill each other. Probably more miserable ways to go to war. We bombed ourselves. We stabbed each other. Because we went from the hand to the stone, and the stone becomes the obsidian rock and spear. We speared each other. We rocked each other. Then we created swords, and we created swords. We cut each other. We stabbed each other. And from swords and knives, then we have guns, and then we started shooting each other. From shooting each other, we created turrets and fire, and we burned each other alive. You know, right? And then, of course, through time and history, the modern world, we created weapons. You know, automatic weapons. We created bombs, and we bombed each other and all that stuff, right? And for some reason, aliens who probably are not visiting us, or probably are watching us. And you know, and they will still come by. The only time we would heard about aliens coming by is They nuked it, as we're playing with nuclear bombs, which is the ultimate form of, weaponry. And therefore, we had to understand, realize that, we have a lot to fix, and there's a lot of good in us too to kind of stop that. And man, it's been like that every time. But since we're here now, in the wake of social media, through to tribalism and primitiveness, we have now reached to us this level, which is probably the most unnecessary shit, but has been came up to that bait. And that is the audacity of having a culture war, as we are in, because since I think 2018, this culture war started. 2018 to over to 2021, that the culture war has becoming more and more and more, becoming live. That's what it is. People created books. People started making conspiracies. People started making videos, and then it's trying to create in memes, even though memes should be funny. But there's pieces of shit that really would take memes to a whole new level. Now, it became to what it is to be now. They take it to such a serious extent. And since then, it came to anime. The West, we've lost a lot of shit in the West. Thanks to, identity politics, which was tame at first, until it didn't become tame. It became primal. It became tribalistic. It became savage. It became territorial, terroristic, right? Because people cannot get over their feelings. You're fighting for something that already has been passed done. It's not the 1960s anymore, bro. And you're not 6 years old. You're not 7 years old crying and bitching over something that offends your identity. Like, dog, ask for, but it came to that point. And anime, which did cover diversity, and it's not only just the fucking image of a human being, not only just, that, it covered many stories, many genres about diversity. But it's just that our culture, thing is about the culture of the West is completely hypocritical now, since that, which is that we would there were things that we should protect by the freedom of speech or the freedom of expression, but until we actually show it, and that becomes to sexuality, then all hell goes loose. You become tarnished. You get stoned like you're a diddler from from the biblical times, because the Lord said so. And you're not pure, which is such utter false. Like, what the hell, bro? Like you said, freedom of expression and freedom of speech, freedom of religion. I mean, that's what America's founded for. But we didn't. We're not free. We're not free. We're really not free. I know, I'm very aware that as a kid, when we had shows like these TV ads as a kid, like Girls Gone Wild, when on Florida, because Girls Gone Wild was very active in Florida, and I would have infomercials. I would make sure my parents don't catch me watching an infomercial, right? But it was there, and Snoop Dogg was there, and West Palm Beach and Fort Myers and shit, and they were talking about Girls Gone Wild, right? And that was very public at night on TV, including Adult Swim. There's lots of violence and all that, and the gore stuff. However, too, in the wakes of violence, I mean, before that, right, in most live action R-rated shows and R-rated movies, aside as they would show guts and gore, right, and violence, they would also show, exposure, titties, naked breasts, like they usually do. And there's still shows that do that. But now in these times, because of purity And it's either between purity or fucking identity sexual safety shit that is so hypocritical because it doesn't abide to their form of fetishes, that they would gaslight you in such a way, has now completely infiltrated the escapism of what we watch in movies, of we play in video games, we used to have in animations, in Adult Swim, that we used to have in video games at the time. Because, bro, there is a rating. If it's rated M for mature, you should not buy that game if you're under 18 or you're under 17. All right? It's violent, but hey, we still do it anyways. And did it affect me? No. Did it affect other children who play GTA San Andreas? No, it didn't. But it did show violence. Yes. It did show criminal activity. Yes. It did show sex at some point. Yes. God of War. Right? But the law. But there are those people, especially in the law, especially in religion side, now completely tarnished it and starting to censor it. Everything is censored now. You can't censor like this freedom of expression, this escapism. And on top of that, these characters don't exist, but you have a bunch of those two groups who treat characters as fictional people as actual people, rather not conversating and not going against those who made a documentary Netflix series called Cuties, right? Rather going against those who are literally in the Epstein files, who are literally in videos, right? You're going to go again. So you're going to come after us because of your high morality, but you want it because you saw a character that was pretty hot until you found out that this character apparently it's a minor. I'm like, dude, a minor with what? Superpowers, who looks like that, who talks like a 24-year-old, it's coded, right? But you want to make sure, but you can't accept it. You can't deal with it. You can't bear with it, bro. Everybody was so down bad with Raven from Teen Titans. Teen Titans. Everyone's so down bad with Gwen Tennyson. Gwen Tennyson from Ben 10. We didn't bat any eye about age. We didn't bat any eye about even for the Disney adults. Nobody batted an eye about Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Nobody batted an eye. But until then, they started watching short form content with ADHD spans like me on YouTube. Now, she's 16 years old. Oh my God, no, we got to cancel Disney. We got to burn everything to the ground. We riot BLM, and free Palestine, all that bullshit. But the other one, on the other side, no, we got to protect the children. We're going to go all Shimoneta. We got to go all idiocracy up in this bitch, bro. Trump all day. Esquer it, Trump, Christian Cross. Hallelujah, we're taking down the devilry. Like, dog, y'all some pussies. Like some real pussy reactions, dog, over fictional content. And then this is where I'm going to have to, hold on, let me say this, explain this in front of you, okay? And from that information, right? From that information, we have now led to patterns that people are the counter protesters who are counter against this kind of ideology or counter against this bullshit of reactions of escapism, who are against this freedom of expression. Like they try to do satanic panic with Dungeons and Dragons in the 1990s. Like they try to do satanic panic on Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and including anime. We're now in anime now, which is almost should be considered the last bastion of freedom of expression, and indie games and indie horror movies. Now, because thanks to we got freaking Markiplier and Kane Pixels on the Backrooms and Iron Lung, because the original mainstream, everything became mainstream, and once it became mainstream, things went to shit. I'm not saying that the moment it became mainstream, now everything went to shit and we're all doomed. No. Back in the bro, I still remember the glory days of the 2010s when it became mainstream and it was well respected. I remember those days. I remember those days. I really remember those days. But since then, the cancel pigs came in. The cancel culture, the term, the old school woke came in. Before that, we agreed on. Woke means to be aware of things, not painting your hair blue and cutting your dick off and calling yourself a two-spirit animal transracist, a transracial two-spirit and some shit like that. Now it became to be that one. So what happened now? In that end, now they start coming after anime. And now patterns start coming in. Anime tourism, shonen, the shonen heads, hood weebs, and hood weebs, which is basically like a racial stereotype of black people only watching Shonen Jump. When I know not all black people watch Shonen Jump, especially Latinos too, because yes, we like brown skinned Latinos, though Latino is an ethnicity, as a culture, not a full race. There are many different colors of Latino, but the brown Latino, this Latino, from this to 3 shades darker of brown, we're also considered hoodweeps for some reason, because we only watch Dragon Ball Z. We only watch, Naruto as well. But then we came to be right. We also have those two sides. But then that pattern came where any form of fan service that our people came to be, it's morally wrong for some reason. They talk about Uzaki-chan wants to hang out, it's considered pedophilia. They talk about my tiny senpai, no, that's pedophilia right there. They watered down pedophile. They watered down the term pedophile. They literally watered down the term pedophile so much. So then we're gonna have to have the other side too, where those people commenting, look, most people are commenting are either the LGBT, those of like flags like, Free Palestine, West Papua, Free Sudan with rainbow flags, who many of those countries are very homophobic about. They're very homophobic, all right? If you trying to spread your LGBTQ flag in Palestine, they would hang you from a crane just because you're gay. Mind you, right? Mind you, they will hang you just because you're gay. They will hang you because you're trans. So that's not a good idea to do that. And you're trying to spread that LGBT ideology, like identity into Uganda, bro. They will shave your head, they will kick your ass, and deport you. Better yet, they will lynch you. They will cook you up. West Papua, they don't know nothing of that shit. That does not even exist in their minds. All right. What exists is decolonization, which we all stood for too. I stand for decolonization, but the same, right? I stand for it. But no, what I don't stand is free Palestine and start rioting and breaking shit all over the place. That's why I don't stand. So then we came to here, anime and manga. That's what's going on. That's what's going on in the anime community. So then you start seeing factions in the anime community. You start to see patterns. So we have a community of Shonen Jump, which not all Shonen fans are like fucking buck wild territorial over fan service or waifu characters who apparently are underage, but for some reason they're so sexualized because it's not real. They're not real, all right? And then, right, and sadly enough, now, the counter side of the anime community, who are anti-censorship, who are pro-fan service, who are pro-freedom expression, who are pro, cute and funny characters, right? Who are pro-waifus, who are pro diversity and and that is not only Shonen Jump, who advocates creativity than copy and paste and blackwashing or whitewashing of a character in anime or manga, or in video games as well. I forgot to mention video games. All right, I forgot to mention video games, and including not only video games too, comic books, manga, uh, you know, web comics, indie, toys, TV shows, all right? Cartoons, kids' cartoons, and adult cartoons, right? Are now would have the pattern of being of having have a profile, have a pattern of a profile pic, and showing saying all kinds of racial fucking slurs all over the fucking internet on Twitter, and it's starting to get bullshit. Hello, code Brawlcat. Yes, this seems interesting. Yes, it is a topic that needs to be talked about because it's an ongoing pattern that's going on in the anime community. You know, it's supposed originally it was cultural. It was supposed to be cultural. That's all it is, right? But then because the people are catching up patterns, you have YouTubers pointing out the other while not even saying it. We're not even trying to explain it, but the fandom said it, and it's now became racial. For the littlest of fucking reasons. It's now became racial. I can't believe it. We're now into this point that our geek and nerd cultures that many normies, especially of black and brown community, who including of the neurodivergent community, who we become bullied for, we become alienated for, just because we don't like their interests, because their interest is, gangland and GTA. Hear me out. As a nerd and geek and neurodivergent person who was bullied, who was secluded because I could not abide to the social norms of neurotypical people, right? I too watch Gangland. I too watch play GTA San Andreas, GTA 5, and want to see GTA 6 come out. Yes, I do watch the same shit that they do. Turns out, right, now they come into our world and then start to put in their standards and their double bullshit into our place. And now and calling out anybody who is, and they keeping finding patterns that there are a lot of people who happen to be, who likes K-On!, who likes Free Ren, who likes Mushoku Tensei, or to American side, who likes the Mighty Nine, who likes Wrath of the Gods by Zack Snyder, who plays video games like Genshin Impact or Zenless Zone Zero because or Blue Archive. They're all linked to say, okay, those people that watch that or play that are probably white and Asian gooners. I'm like, you too, my black and brown people, you are gooners too, because you're watching Chainsaw Man, right? Who has fan service. You're playing Genshin Impact. You know that there is a Rule 34 fucking stack of that. But you guys don't like the body diversity too. But aren't you part of body diversity? Oh no, I am. I'm part of body diversity. Just not the petite one, because I don't believe petite women exist. Higher consent bullshit, right? And you can see the memes. You see the memes come out, right? The memes come out about that. There are memes that was built for black people. Wait, hold it. Code Brawlcat, 182 layer. Damn. Yeah, because there's different artboards. Each artboard, I was putting layer after layer after layer. I'm like gathering up the files. So that's the stuff. Yeah, but thank you. I know it's wild. Yeah, but like I said, like there's that pattern again and again and again. You see black people memes saying, "Oh, you find out if you're real." They're putting ebonics, including Hispanic memes too. You see especially as Latinas. I'm sorry, but not Latinas that are like, first generation that came to America. No, I'm talking about Latinas that are like second generation, third generation in the United States too. Like y'all spicy. I mean, I love that spicy. I love that spice. Thank you. All right, pero Yeah, I could never. Yeah, I know, I know. Yeah, I'm still drawing and painting all the way. I sometimes have to delete some. Yeah, but as I said again, I like drawing Gojo. Yeah, yeah. I drew Gojo for Ultra Music Festival, but I'm not. It's not like I'm a fan of Jujutsu. Like I love Jujutsu Kaisen. My bad. Hold up. Whoa, 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 whoa. I love Jujutsu Kaisen. Hold on. Right? Call me the. I know. Tourist alert. Tourist alert. LARPer alert. Don't shoot the bird. Don't arrest me, bro. You know. But like I said too, do you use a pen? Yeah, drawing pen. This is my model called the XP Pen Pro. It's called XP Pen model 22. So it's already been there for like it's like what 3 years old already. So it's quite essential. I haven't had it since 2022. I had so it's still working vividly. It's still going fine. I'm not out all that stuff. So thanks. I use a mouse. It's very hard. Oh yeah. Hey, I mean, you can always start sketching, and also if you save up some money, you can get yourself a little tablet, and then you can practice on the tablet, see how it works out. It's all about adjustments. All about adjustments, sir. Well, but okay. Now back to my topic. Back to my topic about this bullshit of the culture war. Like I said, you see these memes over and over again, and then you get the return. You see profile pictures like K on, right? You see profile pictures like Blue Archive, the cute and funny, those kinds, right? Right? You see those cute and funny, memes and emojis. You see, free Ren. You see, K on. You see, like the community within the anime community itself. There's various cultures and communities within the anime community itself, and other geek cultures too, nerd cultures too. Now responding back and sharing memes, shit posting over, black and brown people and Twitter users. I mean, look what happened to that the black cosplayer who cosplayed a free Ren, right? They look at that. She got cyberbullied so hard she committed suicide. She got cyberbullied so hard she committed suicide, right? By grifters who are anti-censorship, who are pro-traditional, who have the usual suspect accounts. But that's just to say too, on the other side, we had mangakas completely quitting social media, completely quitting Instagram, literally Instagram after completely like quitting Twitter. Now, being attacked by the other side, who are pro-Palestine, LGBT, pro-censorship, only accept if it censors the stuff that they like, including Puritans. There are some Puritans out there too. I fucking kid you not. I swear to them too, right? They would attack artists like Kei Rana, Sayundai, who did an LGBTQ angle for you. And now they quitted because, diversity, they're not black enough. Mugen Lord talked about it in a video. Prof Darkness also talked about it in his video. Did a reaction that you're not black enough and this and that. Why it needs to look more like it caters to the type of stuff that they like. They don't leave you alone. They don't leave each other, the artists alone, to do the work that they want to show for the people. What the fuck, bro? Like they attack them, and then you have YouTubers. You're gonna have the same. Then you're gonna have the famous YouTubers like Chibi Reviews, Tectone, Leaflet. You're gonna have Kakao, right? Although he's more center, but then you're gonna have those who are also who are more extreme, right? That on the other side, who are completely actually cheering for this bullshit. They're like, I'm tired. Like, it gets tired. Like, yeah, he deserved it because it doesn't represent it. There's literally some videos from some liberal YouTuber, but the ones that got the loudest, most focus, and it's becoming the pattern and pattern and pattern is BLM anime fans, bro. BLM anime fans, because of the blackwashing. There, I fixed it. And if it's or brown, people talk about brown skin, right? And then now you got factions that created fucking factions to that. It becomes the pattern over and over again. You got black and brown Twitter users who probably are just white liberals cosplaying as them, because we don't claim them. We don't claim them. But the ones get the loudest attention, the most attention, are those who are actually black and brown, who are actually sowing division, right? Who are actually calling it out. And not just in America, it's all around the world now. It's all around the world. And on the other hand, on the other side of things, the ones that are saying racist shit and also pointing out literally the facts that I agree on too, but on certain occasions, are by the loudest extent white and East Asian people. White and East Asian people. So now what we're seeing, right, is that it was cultural at first, because we had the LGBT who have every color and race, right? And then you have, the traditional people, the conservatives, the men, and the ones who are who are completely way are beyond the typical shonen, right? Who are of all colors, like even Etika, who died, unfortunately, rest in peace, whose waifu was era manga sensei, but no one batted an eye to that. I swear, there are some professional blurs out there, right? Blurs, right? Who would not claim Etika as one of them because he likes that shit. Like, no, he's not black to me now anymore. After realizing that he likes that lolly character from Edo Manga Sensei, he's not black to me. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I commented Prof Darkness on a YouTube video regarding to one of his, when it comes to like the cute and funny. I asked him, I said, listen, I'm not trying to be racist here and I'm not trying to fight here, but have some black nerds or black weebs in the blur community, right, have called you a reverse coon because you don't abide to their laws that such content should be traditionally allowed by the Japanese, because to them there's some shit that you have every right to be uncomfortable about it because of what Japan covers, because Japan covers a lot of things, but so do we Americans too. But we're hypocrites. We're hypocrites, yo. We are fucking hypocrites about it. That's the funny thing. We are hypocrites. So many, right? But so, like I said, they don't want, because it doesn't abide to the standard that they think anime is. And then sometimes too, they keep exposing this on X, right? And I get it. Look, X is a battleground. X is fictional, right? People are using animosity and anonymity. They're trying to hide themselves because they're in the real world. They're just themselves. They're just themselves. All right, right. But the pattern keeps going and going and going. So they're gonna go after. So the whole hoodweep shit is, of course, targets black people who only goes after Shonen Jump. Although originally in general is tourism, tourist anime, tourist characters. You draw good hands. Code Brawlcat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Right. But like I said, they would say tourism, anime, like that. Oh, because they don't buy it, because like fucking Logan Paul would do that, right? Logan Paul has now did a fucking auction of apparently one of the original One Piece shonen comics, which he doesn't know shit about One Piece. He really doesn't know shit about One Piece, honestly, right? But then you'll have people also calling out, oh my god, to like Senless Zone Zero, right? There's waifus, bro. Body diversity matters. First things first, right? People will say Free Ren and Ellen, light novel historian, and some other anime tourist account on TikTok would say that if you like this fucking Nezuko in a swimsuit, you need to go to jail. If you like if you buy this model of Free Ren that is almost shirtless, you need to go to jail because you are a pedophile and you need to be shot on sight. I'm like, nigga, what? It's just a fictional elf. We're like, chill out, right? But they don't listen. And then like Ellen Historian will also call it out. It will also have beef. And guess what? Guess what? Those guys are black and brown. Brown men, brown women, black men, black women. Oh my God. No, no, no. They're going to cut now, right? It's a pattern because hold up a second, but hold up a second. Hold up a second on my words. Excuse my words. There's a, yeah, Cobra. Yeah, canonically 100 years old. Yeah, bro. It's been what, 200 years, probably more since Himmel the hero died. And she stated very true. Don't trust demons. And don't trust fucking demons. But they say no, but the demons, they have a better heart because they only watch what? The typical old shonen animes. They're thinking of Nezuko, right? They're thinking of that. Right? But when it comes to free rent and fan service, then she needs to be defended. That's a child and this and that. You like, bro? People like, we black and brown people need to. We Latinos too sometimes. Like not all Latinos are like that. I know that. I know not all Latinos are like that. But stuff like that are to them that I met here in my home city of Florida, who thought like they can be comfortable watching Rising of a She-Hero, which is an isekai. Then it said like it's too weird. Like there's animes that are not even that weird, but there's this intent that they say that just that one fucking scene. It's like, okay, no, I ain't about that. Nah, hell no. What is this Didi Sushi Country? Didi Katari? Fucking Sero's TV would say that too, and then they'll get the response from the people in return who are about free rent. Age of consent. It's not fucking solid in animation. Age is hard to read in anime. I don't blame if you haven't watched anime before. Yeah, look, when I first started watching anime, it was, I was roughly five years old, right? And I didn't know mine of talking about age or something like that. It was amazing, right? And then I started watching Dragon Ball Z. Bleach. Fan service came in when I was like, and Death Note, too. They had some fan service. None of the age didn't bother me. Age did not bother me at all. It's not like Tenji Muyo popped up and then, Ryoko Hakubi is this years old, but Tenji is a fucking 17-year-old. Bro, first off, okay, age of consent differs in different countries, especially in the United States. In the United States of America, okay? The age of consent in the United States is not only 18. No, it's ranges 16 to 18. But you say that now, people are going to point the gun at you, take you to court, or probably not. They're going to, bash your head and go fucking ape shit, buck wild up in that bullshit of that fact. When that's what the law said. Bro, Japan is like 16. It's 16, yes. But people can't bear it. People can't, tourists, and I mean tourists, can't bear the fact that there's short people like me. I am 5'4" to 5'5", right? For some reason, the world treats me like a freaking 8th grader. I have a goatee, yo. And there's the videos about how it's coded and stuff. Like there's people say, okay, the way it's coded or on all that stuff, right? It matters more than the age. Like Marin Kitagawa can be, a high school student to that stuff, right? And that whole topic, this whole topic of age of consent, height of consent, which is the most retarded shit on planet. And then even like, I don't know, bro, like in fan service, the fan service too, the meaning of fan service. Look, you guys, you can disagree or agree about it too, about that. Especially, listen, you're talking to a guy like me who's a straight up gooner, okay? And I don't mind on fan service because I've seen animes with fan service. Evangelion has fan service, no one batted an eye. And us blacks and browns cosplayed for that. We cosplayed Bleach characters. Yoroichi has hella fan service. All right, even though in reality she's not really black. She's not really black. She's what afterthought. She's more like Indian or something like that, right? Where there's actual black characters, but someone has to be Puritan, because they just can't handle escapism. Well, you got right, not bro. There's actual other anime characters for that. Most anime fan service, anime has fan, yeah, low key on God, they do, and depending on how is it's made, right? Because yes, I'll kid you, I'll tell you this: there's some people who don't know this, right? But Bleach, there are some scenes in Bleach that were censored before censorship was even thought of. In Bleach, I said this before in a video. There was a time where there was a moment where if you read the mangas of Bleach, you will see the scenes way more different than actually what you see in the anime. And then, right, especially in One Piece. One Piece, the manga has fan service, but it wasn't that exposed until the anime came out. And it has some fan service where it's exposed, right? But what happened? The two factions came in. But the loudest ones came to this. And this is what's going on. This whole thing was cultural. This whole bullshit was cultural, right? It's only a cultural thing because through to all of our video games and comics and all that good shit. All this was cultural. All this bullshit was cultural. Until then, but since we have psychopathic billionaires now making it racial, and especially the fact that since anime has gotten mainstream, and look, I'm not saying that mainstream anime going mainstream is a terrible mistake, but when it reaches to this level of drama and toxicity that's going around on YouTube and on Twitter, on X, yeah, it's coming to a point where going mainstream is a mistake, right? Because you're gonna have people who are veteran anime characters are now also bringing out the fact that, bro, it's saying that anime should be considered, fucking white and Asian, because at the time when it was calm, it was niche, especially in the furry community too. The furry community is highly dominated at one time, most of the times, whites and Asians. Whites and East Asians dominated the weeb culture. Whites and East Asians dominated the furry culture, the video game culture, the nerd culture in general, because of the creation and artistic and craftsmanship that to be, right? Right? But who's to say that only East Asians and white people are the only ones able to do that? Well, we got artists. We have artists ourselves, bro. We have Latino artists. We have there's a Puerto Rican artist I follow since the time of my childhood, Dave Alvarez. He was a former Disney comics cartoonist, and he has his own comics, Yenny Lopez. All right, and so many other OCs he made comics out of. Dave Alvarez, El Joe Benitez. All right, and then you got Fred Perry. None of y'all know who Fred Perry is. He's the creator of. He's probably the pioneer of American-inspired anime and manga since the 2000s and 1990s. His comic is called Gold Digger. You can go to Google and check out Gold Digger, his series. It's old and it's continuing. He's still continuing. And funny enough, since for those of us Latinos and blacks who we despise and feels threatened of the use of, eroticacy in art, that nigga, as a black dude, mind you, he's black, and he was a former Marine, have been making lots of goonery doujinshis, really good anatomies, and he has a Patreon under an alias, but no one wants to talk about that. Only a certain people did. Only a certain people. because they're fictional, right? He did a parody of the Avatar: The Last Airbender. All right, he did Avatar: The Last parody. No one batted an eye. No one batted an eye. But the moment he did Demon Slayer, everybody goes fucking George Floyd 2020 over again. Us. But on the other hand too, on the other side, the moment a Japanese mangaka artist decided to put a black or a brown character that he created that is, feminine made, a full traditional female body character without any chance of trying to push politics or identity, the other side says, no, that's so woke. What the fuck is that? I'll deport her ass. Bro, like, this is how we're gonna go? Like, are we really about to go through this? Are we really about to go through this, yo? ReZero. We're gonna go to ReZero. ReZero's going this? Yeah, look, you can rate my art, law. It's in my channel post thingy. I'll check out your post. I'll check it out soon enough, and I'll leave a comment on you. Don't worry. I'll keep that as a reminder, yo. Thank you. But like, anyways, back to what I said, right? So you got those people now saying other shit, and they have profile pictures again. K-On, Blue Archive, Fate, the Cali prison Ilya, or Berserker, right? Berserk. Oh, actually, no, the tourists are Berserk, right? They're going pride and patriotic. They're going pride and patriotic over the tradition of keeping anime Japanese, right? Whereas Japan was heavily inspired by American culture. When Japan was heavily inspired by American culture. So ever since Americans came after World War II, bringing comic books and even some games involving Disney characters, bro. Osamu Tezuka was inspired by, when first anime was created, the first anime designed by Osamu Tezuka was literally inspired by Bambi and Snow White. So he used the eyes of Bambi and put it into the face of Snow White, but keep limiting. And that became anime because he loved Snow White, right? He loved Snow White. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's gonna happen. Like this what goes down next on that and social media, right? Was that people completely don't want to pay attention to that bullshit, and now that becomes a pattern that, oh, it's so peaceful. Here where it reaches to the racial part. Now I brought out the whole racial thing of reactions, which is again was culture. It's culture that people were being canceled and censorship because, like going Shimoneta up the ass for, and Idiocracy, right? Right? Where it gets racial. Blackwashing, whitewashing, right? To where it gets racial and cultural was Japan was seeing videos of the auto translate. Was when after the auto translate, right, came by, and then everything become English, and the tourists and all of us of the global South realizing, seeing the English comments from Japan talking about black people, talking about brown people, right? Some who are anime fans, right? People who are, like Southeast Asian, who are South Asian, right? Now, oh shit, they're saying, oh no, they're like, these people need to stop, blackwashing, race swapping, or trying to or judge our culture, because there's a lot of comments on social media on that, judging our culture, judging the Japanese culture, judging Korean culture, right? If you guys were not involved with for example, there was that one Twitter war with siblings, with the Southeast Asians um versus the South Korea, right? If you guys weren't aware about that one, yeah, what happened was that it all started because of photography in a K-pop concert, right? But what happened was that, some guy brought up a big ass. People were bringing big ass cameras, and because of language barriers, no one knows. They speak Korean all the time. Now they were supposed to be complaining until racial slurs happen. One Korean posting about a Southeast Asian arguing and saying they're calling them chimpanzees, literally showing chimpanzee faces and all that shit. So all of Southeast Asia had to band together and started bullying the living shit out of every South Korean out there. They're saying, oh, you're like, hey, Vietnam has all their, like, the north to south connected already. How about yours? People are saying, hey, at least our bridges aren't meant for jumping. Others will say, hey, you cannot judge God's creation, but you can judge the doctor's creation. Like some heavy hardline shit, right? Heavy hardline shit that happened, right? And other internet wars too that regards to the cultural race war, right? Of anime, which is, again, back to anime manga, which is the piracy between Japan versus all of Latin America, right? Where because K-Rana told people, like, bro, if you want to support my comics, please pay, and looking for payment processors and all that stuff. But somehow she was being called a racist, and there were a lot of comments of saying shit of like racial slurs and all that kind of stuff. Like literally because of piracy. Like, bro, no, piracy was the thing because we didn't afford it. Besides, it was getting piracy in legal terms. When it comes to legal stuff and this and that, we're getting censored. But you're gonna have those bad apples who are throwing racial slurs. You have to keep in mind too, the ones who are defending or repelling back against those who are saying, like, the stupid race flag over there, right? In Latin America, it's of different colors. In America, which we call colorismo, right? And if you are, criollo, if you're right? If you are, between criollo or castizo, right? You are basically almost acceptable to the, to have more opportunities, they say, colorism or the better standard, right? But if you are, darker than a light-skinned mulatto or a mestizo, you have a certain standard. But if you are like below dark, like indigenous to even like black African, because we have black Africans in Latin America, yeah, your standards are going to shit, right? And that created in the media like this stereotype that all blacks and browns, are criminals, which we've been fighting for so long. For that. Oh shit, here we go again, all that stuff. And mind you, the people who are calling them racists are using furry profile pictures or using like blackwashed versions of, Demon Tanjiro, blackwashed versions of, Okarun from Dandadan to Pokemon characters. Yes, Pokemon. Yes. Right? And all that stuff, right? Mostly Shonen Jump, which is basically calling out the big assailants. And the ones who are defending K-Rana in Spanish are those who are Asian immigrants who are living in Brazil or in Peru, or literally lighter skinned Latinos who are of a culture that is more of a sort of like a disciplinary culture. And then a cycle keeps going on and on and on and on again. And then you get to politics, to the race, right? The WL community, like the WL community and the Poggers community is probably a prime example of what's happening right now. the streaming community between the Poggers and the WNL, right, is, like I said, it was culture, is literally a hand cultural, right? Was never racial. It was cultural because you can actually follow black people who are more aligned to the Poggers community, black and brown, black and Latino, right? Whereas there are many numbers of whites and Asians in the WL community who are more of like, you know, like the normies, more of like the street smart people out there and stuff. Aiden Ross, who is pretty much a Jew, but I still consider Aiden, that Jew, a fucking white guy, right? But and then of course you can see people like I Show Speed and stuff, and they have their own profile pics, their own customs under their studio set. Okay, so you have them. That, like, seeing those two, they don't get along. Funny enough, they try to make reasons with one another, trying to make it clear so the other can understand. None of them understand each other. None of them. None of them. And therefore, because of that cultural gap between, between those two, or better yet, a better example of the streaming, Asmongold, the beef between DDG and Asmongold, a complete cultural gap between black culture, but of unfortunately the loud ghetto YN black culture, rather than low god tier, middle class working, black culture, versus a guy who rejects modernity, like materialism and generic educational white culture, generic, middle class or whatever kind of class he is, white culture. And you see him fail so hard that black people had to call out DDG. It's just the culture, right? But what we're talking about is anime and video games. DEI had got so pushed into Star Wars, comic books putting like gay black heroes, gay black villain, right? They would race swap. This fucking companies would race swap Superman and turn him to a gay black, Kryptonian. Batman. They would create, rather than creating original characters, but you also have original Marvel characters like America Chavez, right? Who is typical angry Latina behavior. Typical angry Latina behavior, bro. Like, I saw that stereotype from a mile away. Or Black Panther #2, or the second Black Panther, Wakanda Forever with Namor, which to me, look, you can disagree with me, you can hate me for this, but I would let that one slide because, Tenoch Huerta, and top of that, only one Atlantis can live, and that would be Aquaman, right? Played by Jason Momoa. Although now people are cheering for Jason Momoa for becoming Lobo, because he lands with Lobo more than Aquaman, right? He lands with more, right? But so on that hand, they would say that, and they would say that with League of Legends. Oh, a black woman, right? In League of Legends, they made it original. Right? 2 days later, woke and this and bullshit without even saying it. And then the people who are responding to it are those who are saying Ebonics, y'all this, y'all that, laughing and this and that. And then that creates racial slurs. Code Monkey, greetings and solutions. Hey, what's up, Code Monkey? What's up? I'm Element Reptile, Elemento Reptil, ¿cómo estás? Right? I try to look Latino, but for some reason I look like a Palestinian. Fuck! Anyways, but like I said, the whole culture war is getting that is increased to that point. As it increased to that point, right? Now the comments go up, and you see the same typical comments. K-On, Free Ren, High School DxD, some Genshin, Blue Archive, all the time. Blue Archive too. Oh my God, bro. Tanya the Evil. Even artists. Even to artists. Jesus Christ. Cosplayers get involved. Right? Cosplayers get involved. Writers. Oh my God, bro. That's the worst fate to life. Writers getting involved. Even mangaka, which is, you know, using the creator of One Punch Man, when he brought out that comment about the Pakistani migrants in Japan, he talked about that, right? But people are saying he was racist. Well, in reality, that motherfucker was just curious. That nigga was curious, honestly. Real. You can't convince a Buddha head like, you're not gonna convince yourself that a Buddha head like fucking like Yusuke Murata would say, huh, these black people, oh, they look like Stonehenges and shit. I'm like, bro, I think he doesn't even know. He may imagine working 24 hours throughout every day through your whole past 5 lives of creating One Punch Man. You think you're not gonna be like, you when you get out, you're not gonna be curious? Nigga, no, bro. That motherfucker was curious. He's not racist. He's just curious. But saying that, it will bring out the other defensive people. No, you're just protecting his racism because you might have an Asian deity fetish. I'm like, what do you mean? My waifus are actually black and brown, right? I have waifus that I like that are basically my waifus, dark skin Yoriichi. I do have, yes, cute and funny characters. Are you ready to hear this? My cute and funny characters. Mara Eventry, Clovan Iceburn, Shuten Doji. Oh. But then back to my waifus. Chell from Road to El Dorado. To another one. Ryuka Matoi, even though she's light skinned. She's like the white skin of Asians. Right? Saiko Yonabayashi, another white-skinned legal character, right? Yeah, from Tokyo Ghoul. Saiko Yonabayashi, bro, I was dreaming of her all day, all long. You know? Yenny, but most likely, but firsthand is the dark skins. My first waifus are always the dark skins. You know, Storm, you know, Dorothy from Great Pretender, you know, Mara Eventry, Iron Mouse. Puerto Rican. So, hey, I have a variety. All right? I have a variety that I like. Especially with YouTubers like JX Senpai, who's also has to voice out. And he's black. JX Senpai is black. Right? A black anime tuber who talks about his defense of lolly content of you know, like waifu and lolly content. I'm not afraid to say it. Right? Prof Darkness, Monte Sensei, you know? I'm not going to be the one saying chibi reviews because they do follow chibi reviews. But no one wants to talk about that. People, they're calling because our people now are calling them traitors, coons. There's even Latinos like me say I'm not Latino. I don't should be associated. I think you're white. I'm like, bro, I got black hair, and I got mid skin just like you. No, you're Arabian. Fuck it, bro. I'm brown, even they. Bro, I met actual fucking Arab people, right? Who said to me, you don't even look Arab. Straight up. So miss me with that shit. So here we go again, right? Like, it's tiresome, bro. It's so tiresome that it's gonna lead to this. It led to such a level that now we're going to a time. Let me comment this. Hold up. Let me say this in the chat. Watch my comment chat. Look at the comments. LA 92. That's where it's going to. Because outside of the anime stuff now, we're having the same patterns of those people, of the community, of those two opposite sides, of the two opposite cultures, right? Now, who's not only being aligned with tourists on both sides, but is now also aligned with people who are not of that culture, who are now also jumping in. Guess what? On podcasts. For those who don't know about 1990, what happened in LA 92, it's a document. There's literally a free movie on YouTube. You can watch it. For those who don't know about LA 92, I was never born of it, of course not, and I never come from the culture of it. It goes short, full story short, was that there was a case about that was caught on tape, was that Rodney King, right, who was on a high-speed chase. He got caught. He got stopped by the police, and he was getting beaten like a fucking dog, like literally getting beaten in such ways that is unbearable. And guys videotaped him, right? People would say, right, but he was with three other people. Right? And he was trying to, he was getting beaten so hard that he was getting so distressed. He was getting so frightened. But also, too, he was also in a way kind of resisting. But hey, I would be kind of freaking out and resisting too if I'm getting my ass beaten with like 12 different batons on my ass, bro, like on Oblivion as well, right? And what happened to that, right? And since it was returning on tape, the court cases allowed. The verdicts came in, and time came by, right? But then, within Rodney King came the other case that would spark higher the LA riots, was the case of Latasha Harlins. So Latasha Harlins was 15 years old. She was at a Korean store, where Koreatown is, where the Korean shop owners, right? She got into a confrontation with the store owner, who thought she was stealing orange juice, right? And if you look at inside the tape, she had money in her hands, but because she was bigger than her, and she was still thinking, the store owner, her name was Soon Ja-do, right? Still thinking that she was stealing orange juice, although in the tape she had the money in her hands. She grabbed the book bag, right? And I'm pretty sure at some point, too, that she may have had bad experiences with certain black people who did stole things from her store. So let's keep that in mind. So she grabbed her bag. Latasha, fought back, started beating her, gave her a black eye, right? And she freaked out. And therefore, what happened next? The old lady shot her in the back of the head, right? Because she was bigger. She was bigger than her, right? And she was with the other group. So that sparked with 4 verdicts saying not guilty, only with one charge, and everything else, and the LA riot started. Now, for those who don't know, now what I say about LA 92, people think it was a black and white or black and Asian thing, right? As is being shown even on Twitter now. Reality was, it was 3 things. It was systemic, it was cultural, and it was economical. But what keeps getting overshadowed too, and I want to take away the economic side too, because Latinos, right? Chicanos. I'm not Chicano. I'm not from the West Coast. I'm from Florida. All right. But I do know we all do know the Chicano culture, much as like we have the Boricua culture here, and that is all over New York and all over throughout the East Coast, right? There were many cases that were completely like erased of Latino police brutality and mass and deportations of actual legal Latino Americans during the time of the Rodney King riots. No one talked about that. only small documentaries, only small videos on YouTube that it takes by individuals who would talk about the Latino side of the LA riots. Mind you, the out of the 63 deaths, right? Out of the 63 deaths of the LA riots, it we were second in place because we had the mass. We were way more arrested than black people. We were the most arrested, but we were second largest of deaths. We were like what, up to 19 deaths, while black people were getting up to 26 deaths, probably more, right? And not only them, because we're talking about brown, right? Aside from the Mexican Chicanos, there was even deaths of Samoans. There were two Samoan brothers who got shot by the police. That was during the time. There was also Filipinos that were getting shot down. You know, that was during the time of the riots and the time before the riots. And shit escalated. Shit escalated all the way. And the rooftop Koreans came up. Now, right? That was probably like glazed in a way, because you know ever since that history, you know, the stores were getting attacked, they were getting robbed. Remember, for those who don't know about Koreatown was not really centralized. If you listen to Tony Moon's book, he talked about that Koreatown was not a very centralized place. It was scattered, right? And there were and the streets, and the rest of the streets was usually just Hispanic streets, black and Hispanic, but also other ethnic groups and races, even sometimes Native Americans. So he has to defend. So in his story, the people that were shooting at him were not, right, that were attacking his store were actually cholos, were actually MS-13 gang members, Central Americans, Latinos, right? But also aside from that, right? So it was never a black versus Asian or black versus white thing. The blacks on the black, right? That was been so overfabricated and so pushed out and so like presented in falsely by the media, who probably were just partially heard about the LA riots because they wanted to keep it as a black and white thing, but they always disregard the Latinos, because when it comes to Latinos, it's either immigration, it's either economy, or it's about, you know, like the families in ICE and ICE protests like we're having in LA, which it's the stupidest protest ever. So bring that LA 92 to where we are now. Is you can see the brewing of it. Not only that, because of just comments on social media, but actual videos. And this is, we're going to go to this one. Migrant crisis. The migrants. Yes. We know how the migrant crisis is, right? The borders and illegal immigration, all that stuff. That's happening in Japan and Korea and parts of Taiwan. Because we all know in Europe, basically, all of Europe gave away the homelands of Europeans to Islam in such a way. And, right, for recent years, ever since, and the pandemic and all that stuff, right? Well, even before the pandemic. And then you had this pattern going on and completely stereotyping, completely, you know, targeting like the bad ones, which is good. You should target the bad ones, but they always putting us in the general sense that all of us are that. They're from the global south. Remember, most of the people are from those migrants in Europe are from the global south, right? They're from the global south. And then, right? But crazy enough, I thought I saw on there was a Vice video that was like during the time of Charlottesville, there was this super right wing kind of like group that was like all white pride and shit. But that when in the video, the reporter said, you know, I see a lot of Japanese tattoos, a lot of Asian tattoos, East Asians, you know, because of their fascination of it, right? And then that caught that eye. They not only that, there's literally racist white supremacists with actually have posters and say, like rooftop Koreans all day, right? So that comes the pattern. And then from that point on, they say they're honorary whites and all that bullshit, all that happens. So the migrant crisis happening in Japan affected the elitists, but like elitists and centrists, including, because I look, I'm gonna put this out, okay? And when it comes to this, defending this stuff, I am a fence sitter. I'm a fence sitter. All right. I choose that way because I don't want to try to put in conflict, get into anybody's bullshit. I'm trying to put this in the fullest, broadest expression. I'm trying to back away and give you guys the full picture of what's going on. I'm not trying to side on anybody. I'm not trying to side on anybody. Okay. I've seen some nasty shit on the side, on the right side. I've seen some nasty shit on the left side. Okay. I'm gonna see the pattern over and over again. I have agreed on that side. I have agreed on the other side too. All right. I don't want to be into this stuff. I don't. But it has gotten to this point. It has gotten to this point. And fuck me, it's getting tiresome. And fuck me that later on in the future it will get violent. You don't know yet, but it's gonna get violent. And funny enough, right? Those same people who are wanting to keep the authentic, trying to save their homeland, right? Although there are those here in America who are downright trying to believe that, the whites are going to be a minority, East Asians too, right? Are now using anime pictures, anime photos, and saying, literally, I kid you not, they had K-on characters again. And then they had Astolfo, fake characters. They had, I think they had one kawaii character. I don't remember. It was Tanya the Evil. Yeah, Tanya Evil, because they're anti-communist and stuff. Yes, because there is that rise of communism inflicting to social media and media there. They're using profile pictures like Tanya the Evil. They're putting, like Nazi cosplay on Free Ren, Nazi cosplay on literally on Anya Forger and Blue Archive. Literally, Blue Archive. They're using, the Blue Archive girls, the two lolly twins, right? Not the Shupuke and Mesugaki ones. The other ones with their like the brother and sister with the pink one, right? They had that one gif is going like nah, right? And they're literally saying the hard R N word, right? Yeah, those people. They will use that. They have them in their profile pictures, including shit posting, Pepe the Frog. And while the other side, who are fuck me. We good? Yep, it's that time. Fuck. Keep in mind is that since I live in an area that's bad connection, it's gonna happen. I get this pattern over and over again. Sorry guys. I get this pattern connection over and over again. It's getting bullshit. Hella bullshit. But anyways, like I said, let's go back to what I said, right? That pattern goes on and 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 on. And it repeats, and repeats. To even religion. Going back and forth. It's ridiculous. It's really primal. It's really primal. It's basically, it's like it's basically, once again, like LA 92 and Charlottesville. Well, Charlottesville was is the anti-woke, was the predecessor of, of Puritan, conservative, and giga chud culture, right? Like chud culture and Pepe the Frog shit posting, right? And against, the woke, the furry, this and that. But because both sides were literally white people on both sides. But what we're talking about is that pattern again. blue archive. So where do we get to that? Where do we get to that? Huh? Where do we get to that? What's going to change? It's not going to change nothing.